time out.
All right, we're on now. Viewers, if you've been hearing us there, you caught us in a very interesting conversation, and it would lead to today's discussion. My guest today, I was asking her about her mental health and how does she turn it off and shut it off. And when you hear who the guest is, you will understand why I'm asking her about her mental health and how important she is to our people, especially our children. Welcome to Facing the Nation. I'm Malika Ramsey, as always. Thank you so much for tuning in. Of course, I usually start off by thanking many of you, those who sent messages and comments and so on. Based on our conversation last week we had with the Minister of Public Telecommunications, Cathy Hughes, I know you got a lot of information from her in terms of where she's taking that ministry. Well, not herself, but its entire team. So we thank you for your comments. Those of you who missed it, it is obviously on my YouTube channel, so you can go there to get it. But today we're going on it's completely different from what we discussed last week. It is about our children. I know we haven't had a discussion about our nation's children on this program in a long while, in terms of how we go in depth with it. When I have this particular guest, she has not been here for maybe about 2 years, but it's no fault of hers. It's my fault. I didn't call her because I know she's so busy and she has a lot to do. But it's my pleasure to welcome back to our program the Director of the Child Care and Protection Agency, Miss Ann Greene. Welcome back to Facing the Nation.
Thank you, Malika. Yes.
It's so good to have you.
It's good to be here.
Okay, wonderful.
Yes.
Viewers, I was saying to you, you caught us. You probably heard some of what we were saying, but we were talking about her mental health, and the operators indicating to me that you did not hear it. So it's a good thing and a bad thing. But we were basically talking about her mental health because she's one of the main persons involved in ensuring that our children, our nation's children, is protected. And we get caught up in so many things. We talk about the politics, governance, and so on, and we tend to forget that our children exist, except for when there is Child Care Week, as she will talk to you about just now, which has gone. Education Month, we make a big fuss. Yes, our children are the nation's future, and education is important, and we must get the children educated. And then by the time we go on to the next month, there's a lull, and then we don't bring these things back up until, another time, or God forbid we see some headline in the paper, girl or boy abused, or child care agency had to rescue this child. Then we all get emotional and we talk about all the things that are lacking, and then again it dies and we move on to something else, which is unfortunate. So I chose today to have that discussion with the director of that agency to talk about where the agency has gone in terms of protecting our nation's children, some of the things to come, and I know a lot of work has been doing. And again, this is why I had to ask the director, how does she not take all of this home? Because as you know, I can get very emotional too, and I don't know that I would have been able to go home and not take this. Miss Greene, again, it is so good to have you. I know you have a lot on your plate. The agency has a lot on its plate. I know it's a team effort. Yeah. But firstly, let's talk about the week that has been recently concluded. It's Child Care Week. What are some of the things that you would have, Child Protection Week. What are some of the things that, you would have been able to achieve, the agency would have been able to achieve in that week? This is apart from some of the specifics I know you'll tell us.
Yes. But the week is to heighten awareness.
Okay.
To child abuse, to the plight of children who suffer abuse, because we're hoping to get the public to put them in a protective mode, to protect children.
Even before anything happens.
Yes, we want to prevent abuse. You see, when we come in after abuse is happening, it's so devastating to a child that, and particularly sexual abuse, it lasts a lifetime. It even lasts for generations. So we have to prevent abuse. So when we do awareness, and we do awareness all the time, it's one of our main programs.
Okay.
Public awareness is something that we must do. But then we use the special week to heighten it, even carry it to highest levels. And after the week, like the week after now, oh boy, it's the reports and everything will come in. So more work, so the more awareness you do, the more reports that you will get.
Do you find, even before you continue, that in that week, and sorry viewers, this is the negative of it, but do you find in that week too, you even get people to maybe come forward more and say, well, look, I have a situation, or I had a situation?
Yes.
Okay.
There's more reports, more everything. During the week, people want to get more information and everything. Okay. So we use that week to heighten, and we had awareness right across the regions. all the regions we had awareness. We had awareness walk, we had symposium, people sit down, key stakeholders sit down and let's discuss how we can address certain issues. That was across the regions. Yeah, we had things at school level with the children, with the teachers, with the parents, all the groups. We did a bumper day sticker at the Stabrook Market, talked to those guys there. They were very encouraging. They understand, they can spread their awareness. So it's a week of activities. We had, we did sessions with the sports fraternity. We had them together. We talk about them because there's things for them to do in terms of, yes, coaches and so on, all the persons who interact with children. So we have had a week of activities in all 10 regions this year. Before, we used to have most of it in Region 4, but years now, we're making it right across the regions. In every region, Region 9 had a lot of activities. In Region 9, they did right across the region. Yes, it's a heightened awareness. We want persons to understand.
You touched on coaches just now, and viewers, I must tell you, we were having a spirited conversation even before we came on here, and you talked about the involvement of coaches. It may seem obvious to some people, but I want you to talk about why reach out to coaches so that people will understand the depths to which your agency is going to protect our nation's children.
Yes, we go into some depths. There are complaints for us from areas where our organizations and agencies that interact with children.
Okay.
And what we have come up with, children are being groomed. Groomed, yes. It's being groomed, and grooming is being groomed for sexual activity. The children who are
sexual activities with adults.
Yes. And children who are sexually abused is by people they trust. That's how you get so close to them. It's not such the stranger level. We don't have, in terms of our data, strangers abusing children sexually. The children that are abused sexually is by persons that they trust, persons that they love the most, persons that they respect, persons that they would not believe would ever do any such thing for them.
But even without them believing that they would do such things, would you go as far to say as sometimes, depending on the age of the child, they may not even recognize that?
That's it. That's what I say about child abuse. Child abuse is hidden crime behind closed doors, and some children, they do not have a voice to talk about abuse or even aware that they're being abused. That's how dangerous and serious it is. So we have been, since the start of this year, working and looking at all the agencies and all the organizations. What we want them to do is develop a child protection policy for interaction with children. So all the areas, so that's how the coaches come in. And I must say, those organizations, they're really cooperating with us. They invite us to talk so people could understand and aware that there's different arrangements now to children. You can't just coach a child privately or a child coming to your home and so on.
Like
there's some things,
and so forth,
yes, there's some things got to be, not only lessons, any interaction, I'm talking about lessons or even talking about Sunday school, any area that children, that you have contact with children, there must be guidelines for the persons who are having contact with children. There must be how you go to contact. Even if it's counseling them and opposite sex and so on, you might need to have a partner that we have to talk to this young man, or we have to talk about this young woman about her behavior and so privately. You might have to get a partner to talk to the young woman. No one-on-one. You see, why we advising we doing this? Guyana got a serious sexual offenses law, you know. It's very, very serious. And this whole question of grooming, it takes you to jail and $1 million fine.
And this is enforced, just for clarity.
This is enforcement, yeah. It's there. So, and children are groomed, they're even groomed online. They're talking to people online that are grooming them to meet them for sexual activity. So it's something, is a preventative method. So if we get all the organizations and all the agencies that interact with children to do this policy, a policy for your interaction with children. We will help you develop it. So certain guidelines are set out there. If you have to take a child out, if you're coaching a child, if you're doing a one-on-one, there's certain things there we will help you
So
to
even
prepare
before
it.
you begin that
So
job, you have to
you
sign
have to,
something.
yes. So when you employ persons to do work with you, or even in those organizations they volunteer, you have to let them know that we have a guideline here. So if you overstep, because things happen, you need to report to the agency. The Child the Protection of Children Act says that anybody, there's a mandatory reporting for abuse and thing and so on. So even the person, yes, so you have this policy, you have these guidelines set out that this is not going to happen. You know, we had some reports. Some mother had reported a child was taken out and come back home by a coach, and the child was never the same since, and such things. So we don't want that at all. So we are coming seriously. We have started already looking at all the organizations and all the agencies that you interact with children, either directly or indirectly. That yes, you must establish a policy, and you must, and we will come and assist you. We'll come and talk with your employees too for your organization and let you know about the law, the protection of law, what's the policies, what's the procedure, how you can really to keep a child safe, and even to and to protect you too. So it's both you will do. So we want, yes. So that is why it's important that I'm saying. And any agency or any organization who feel that they need to have it, they understanding what I'm saying, they just can make contact with us. And we are willing to assist in that.
I hope they contact you, because this is a wonderful initiative that, and again, in this century that you're having this document,
Yes.
Look, if you're coming on to work with children, you must sign
You must,
so
yes, that this is it here. We want you to sign on. That here, a child is going to be safe. We will protect a child here. And if you deviate from that, yes, we can come down like a ton of bricks.
Wonderful. We're going to talk about how the home is coming into that. And I know you're very serious when it comes to our nation's children. Viewers, if you're now tuning in, today my conversation is with the director of the Child Care and Protection Agency. And of course, we're talking all things children when it comes to protecting our nation's children. Before we get back to some of the details, especially in terms of going into the homes, 10 years, you were telling me before that it is the agency's 10 years this year. Do you feel that you have been able to achieve a significant amount in terms of the successes of protecting our nation's children? And the reason I'm asking to, and I'm linking it to the 10 years, in 10 years we have seen new challenges. And one of the things that I would have been asking you about before was social media is a new challenge. Many of us, we put our whole lives there. Sometimes you see photos of, and I don't think, especially responsible parents, I don't think they do it intentionally. Sometimes you would see a photo with a child half naked or naked. You would see children in certain communities still running in the streets, not clothed. So I'm linking that to the 10 years with these new challenges for children and parents. How has the agency been able to deal with all of that?
The agency communication for development is what we concentrate on, using various strategies to communicate, to change some social norms and those things that put children at risk. So we have a good awareness program. We do a lot of awareness, telling you of certain things that will make children vulnerable, put children at risk, and so on. And no child should be portrayed half naked in social media, or got children running in the street without clothes. No. That's a breach of, that's a violation of the children's rights. Children need to be clothed, children need to be fed, children have a right to be nurtured and protected. So how could you have them running on the streets? Why you want to put them half naked on the social media? There was somebody sent me a post where a child about, I don't think he was 4 years old, and his father had him with a bottle, a beer. Yeah, we try to make contact to find these people, but it's so difficult sometimes to really.
That's what I'm coming to know.
Get.
Does your agency, and this is not to viewers, this is not to insult the agency or its staff, in a case like that, does the agency have a right to step in and say, well,
Oh yes, if we could find them, the person could get charged. You get neglect. The agency got a right. We could remove the child
okay,
into a safe place and really and seriously investigate him and find out how could you. Oh, that's high class of neglect. That's neglectful. That's abuse. A beer is alcohol.
yeah,
That could damage that child's brains. That child could go to bed and never wake up. It's a serious. The Protection of Children Act says anyone who put a child in a position that needs protection. So when you do that to a child, you're placing that child in a position that needs protection. And yes, it's a violation of the child and the rights.
okay.
And you could be charged for placing a child in a position that needs protection. And also according to the act, the child can be removed from the care and put in a safe house. All right? But we try to, as much as possible, to separate children from parents. That's the last thing that we want to do.
To not separate them.
Yeah, to separate them from the parents.
In saying that, though, because I know in the orders maybe a few years ago, 3, 4, maybe 5 years ago, Ann Greene was seen as, to some people, as the big bad wolf that runs in and removes children, and you were getting some opposition and so on.
Yes.
Are you at a stage, right, where you're still getting opposition, where
But
people feel that you just want come and take the children?
It's better.
It's
This one time, I don't think I could have gone to the market.
You could go to the market now. You could shop.
I could go downtown now, and people would hail out to me and said, "Yo, good. You just need some more help and things." So I think our awareness program is working. People are getting to understand. Child protection, yes. Before they narrow it down to Ann Greene. It's not the ministry. It's not the agency. It's what's the Ann Greene
problem.
And yes, and then I have to make a decision that is not going to find favor with the adult. So yes, Ann Greene, all the thing, negativity, yes, it's going to be placed there. Good. Well, I had to bear with it because
like that.
it's part of the job. Anybody who's going to work in child protection services, I always say you got to get a hide like a rhinoceros.
Because
you got to get a tough hide. You're going to be attacked. You're going to be put down. You're going to be ridiculed because people really don't understand what we do. So I'd say before you come spend a day with us. Come spend a day with us, and I'll entertain you for a day, and you'll see what we do here in a day. In every hour of the day, we have to make a decision. I have to make a decision about a child, right? And that decision, I'm saying, would not find favor with the parent sometimes. But it's in the best interest of the child, and it's to protect the child.
But I'm sure, and this will lead me to a question that I would have asked you before we went on, because I'm sure now what is happening, people are, in the event that people see anything, the first name that pops into their heads is, let me go to Ann Greene and see what Ann Greene going to suggest, what she the agency going to suggest. And that is why earlier I asked you now, because if you are no good, you and your team cannot serve the public properly. So that's why, and again, because we have so many issues in society, so many mental health issues, and I'm asking you on air now, how do you turn it off?
All right, that's what I say. People ask me all the time. I know there's a gentleman who passed me and said me, "Hi, Ann Greene, I know how you're under the madhouse." I said, "Nah," and he make a joke off of it. But I've been doing this a long time. I have been in human services forever. So of being there, it's my discipline. I have a master's in human services. I studied it and everything. And one of the things is self-care. Self-care, you must take care of yourself. And this week I had to tell my peers I'm taking
Hi, Shanika.
Hi.
So you don't know if the audio is going out, but okay. So. you're on Facebook Live, you're seeing myself and our guest. We just had a power outage, as you know. We recently had the CEO of GPL on this very program. So I hope, Mr. Raw Lucas, wherever you are, you're somehow seeing this, that we've been blocked out again. So for those of you in social media land, if you are seeing and hearing me, just be patient with us. We will continue our conversation as soon as we officially go back on air. So that's that for now. But we're here chatting. All right, viewers, welcome back. All right, our operator seems to be gone from the room. Viewers, those of you in television land, I was just talking to those of you in social media land. If you're in television land and you're wondering what's happening, we just had a power outage here at CNS Studios Channel 6. Since our operator went to get some fixing done, I'm going to go out on a limb and assume that we're back live on the air. So I'll continue my conversation now with the director of the Child Care and Protection Agency. Yes, and he just gave me the thumbs up, so you're seeing us. So I apologize for that pause. We were not sure what was happening. But
yes,
Ms. Greene, you started to talk about how you turn it off and all of that.
Yeah, and I said, this week I had to tell PS I need a mental health day. Because I felt that I just needed some time out of the office, not to hear about another child being abused, and just spend some time meditating and dealing with self. But I have practiced shutting off.
Okay.
I can. I do it. I have to shut off and sleep. Because if I don't, what will happen? I'll be no good for me, and I wouldn't be able to help children. So I have to take care of me. So it's a lot of self-care that just know, yes, I just got to get things off. And I find my way, yes, I don't keep things. I get it out. Yes. I just let it out. I don't keep things, and I tell people. And then I'm not a hater either. So I don't let things bother me too much and keep it at fester. No. Persons have checked me. You know, the doctors, they said, you're the only one not. I said, no, I'm not, because I'm a shooter. I get things off. And I know how to, yes, I can, something bother me, I could discuss it, I could get it to the end, and then I can go shut my eye and sleep. I have to get the rest, because we deal with abuse every hour of the day. Until I'm saying to you, I have to make a decision.
I'm happy that you
about
said
a child.
Because shutting it off, and viewers, our conversation is not about suicide, but I'm happy that she said that, because it gives you advice on how to cope.
See, yes, you gotta be able to get rid of, you gotta get rid of pain. A lot of people can't get rid of pain, they hold things. It's, you know, sometimes you might got a little disagreement with somebody. It's better to, let's talk it out. See if we can come to a position and move on. It's getting over things. It's feeling some time for yourself. It's a lot about self-care, a lot about self-love. You know, it takes some time, to love yourself, care yourself.
Okay.
And it's something you got to practice. It's something, yes, you must need with your mental health. Because this whole question of mental health.
Yes.
Both workers and what we expect to, and the parents and so of children, is to have good mental health. And having good mental health is dealing with life stressors and maintaining that balance, maintaining equilibrium.
Wonderful.
You got to deal with it. So you might wake up in the morning that the things that ain't going right and all of that, but you just got to, you got to deal with it. So sometimes I say to them, some after, in the morning, sometimes I leave some stuff by the rubbish bin there. And I pick it back up when I go about it afternoon. Yeah, because I come in here today, I got things to do, I got work to do. But it's just being handling self. Because no good for self. How would you ever be good for people?
Exactly.
So the first thing is being good for the self. So I will encourage staff, and I encourage everybody, be good to yourself.
Okay.
Be kind to yourself.
All right. Wonderful. Viewers, you probably saw black again. I think that is just switching from GPL is
Switching
killing
over.
us. And I don't need to tell you the problems. We had the CEO here for GPL a few weeks ago, and he said he's working on it. I'm going to trust him for now and try not to get emotional about the situation. And
Yes.
I'm happy that you talk so much about those things. One of the other things too, one of the things that continues to plague our society is men hitting women and they're fighting. What I want to ask you, how much of that do you see in terms of how it affects the children, whereby a man and a woman cannot really sort their issues out and the agency now has to step in and save that child or those children?
Oh, that's the bulk of our work.
Oh.
Working with parents, getting parents to get over the pain issues, the pain of separation, the pain of breaking up, and co-parent your children.
Okay.
Children suffer. They're in jeopardy when the parents separate. And they're in double jeopardy when they don't agree.
Ah.
When they can't get that united front so that we're going to co-parent these children. A lot of times the children feel they're responsible for the breakup. The children are placed in a position where they have to divide their loyalty between the two parents. And no child can do that and come up with intact psyche. They can't divide their loyalty. And they're placed in positions that they have to do that. Yeah, and the children suffer. They can't concentrate on schoolwork. The schoolwork, then the other parent, the parents tell the children all the times. Like the woman separate from the man and he tell the children all the time, you're like your mother. And a child told me she had to hear that. For day in, day out, she had to bear for her mother leaving the father. He put it on her. So she had to hear how her mother was no good and all the four-letter words that her mother was. And she couldn't take it a day. And she walked into us and say, I just want out of that family there.
So you've reached a stage now where the children are actually willing to say to
yeah,
you that...
Yeah, children come. Yesterday I had a child who doesn't want to stay with the family anymore. Children are reaching the stage. They put through a whole lot because the pain, the parents, they can't understand good. Things were going good and you make these children. These children are lovely gems. So things went sour and you got to separate. Could we want to help you to work this out, to deal with your pain and co-parent the children. And that is a lot of time we take doing that. Now we have the family court. So cases are going, we have to do the custody evaluation reports for the courts. And I can tell you the work is this high to deal with that. But even to get to that, there are a lot of times we got to intervene. And most time the officers with downstairs, they'll try at the intake desk and so on, but they can't get some parents to cooperate. And then they'll buzz me upstairs and say, Ma'am, you got to take this one.
Wow.
And I got to get them up.
Manpower is always in terms of people who are qualified.
But sometimes it is so difficult. It's the cooperation of the couple we got to get. And then we have a lot of, again, mental health issues. Some parents didn't understand that they're having, and you see, it's so difficult to tell people about mental health. I remember I was talking with a parent, I was telling her we're going to have to, we got to take her so we can get this mental health evaluation done. And I think she went somewhere and said, I said she mad.
You said she crazy.
I don't say anybody mad. We have to get ourselves evaluated too. You have to be able to check your mental health. Things might be happening. You got to listen to somebody. But it's careful how you do it because this country here, since you tell people about a mental health evaluation or a psychologist, or you need to talk to the psychologist, right away they say you think I'm mad.
Yeah. Well, they say the first step to curing is admitting that you have a problem. I guess we're not there.
They're not there, so it's handling it, and they gotta get the skill set that could handle it. Right? So most times, if downstairs some people give challenges, they call me in.
They call you in to deal with it.
So I can use a different approach to get to understand that what is happening. Because if they don't, the children, And you know, the children are suffering. In fact, I got children as young as 5 years that need psychiatric help.
Oh.
And I am canvassing for a psychiatric unit, pediatric unit for the children that I want them to be, you know, where they could be admitted, where they can observe the behavior, and where you could properly treat it and properly evaluate it so that we can save them, you know, to do what we can do now as children to change it. Yeah, as young as 5 years old. And they were exposed to a lot of things in the family.
That's what I'm coming to know. You find that in these cases it's because of the exposure. Is it, again, I'm no doctor, viewers, but some sort of imbalance that they may have been
all of that,
born
but that's what I'm saying as well. The experts can got to say. But a lot of it, and no, is what we're seeing is in the environment. A lot of it, a lot of children suffer abuse, and they're not talking. Particularly sexual abuse.
So as much as you got the ones who are willing to come and say to you,
there are ones who are suffering in silence. There are many that will suffer in silence.
And we did talk earlier about some not even knowing.
What we get is the tip of the iceberg, the reports that we get. A lot of children are not going to talk. And then they don't talk. And then when we have some in care, and then they cut. They cut themselves. They're not talking. They have secrets about abuse. They protect them, ones that they love.
You mentioned it earlier. You mentioned the family court earlier, and I know that it's basically new for Guyana, but I don't know how in-depth you can go in terms of more of how much of a convenience that court has been with everything that you've been talking about thus far. How much of a convenience that court has been?
The court has been a great convenience, let me tell you, because we try to work with the parents with the custody issues. Custody of a child is not vested in the agency. Protection of the child is vested in the agency.
Yeah.
So a child in need of protection, we have the laws that cover us. We can remove a child, we can place a child to a safe place and so on. Custody of the children, where they're fighting for custody, the mother and the father, that is referred to the family court. If we try to get an arrangement to work with you that help you to co-parent and so on, and then it's not working out, we refer to the family court.
Okay.
Then we take it to the judges, so we get an order. Sometimes we meet with the parents and we have an arrangement between them. They make an arrangement, but I can keep this child now, and you keep the child. Then they leave, and it goes sour. And one preventing the other one from getting access and so on. So we try as much as possible that we can do that. But then we advise the family court. They have to go to the courts so that they can get an order from the court for access for the child and who's going to get custody. Right? We recommend, we like most times, for people to get joint custody because both parents are needed for children.
Indeed.
Children need balanced parental care.
All right.
They need both parents.
All right. I think we, in terms of television land, we were off from us here, maybe 30 seconds. So again, viewers, we could not stop because there are also those persons who are watching us live on Facebook. We hope to have the problem corrected when we load our program to YouTube a little later on in the day. And I know I have to begin to wrap up my conversation. Just in a bit, I have to hold on to her a little longer because she has not been here a while.
Yes.
And we talked about, those of you who missed the 30 seconds, she was talking about the family court. I know that there are also non-governmental organizations and the religious bodies always working in certain areas. Have you been getting the support from them, or I should say, have you been reaching out to any of them to help?
We have been. That's why we have a partnership development program where we're looking to partner with all the religious organizations, all the local groups at the community level. It's one of our priorities because, as I said, all hands on deck. We need more hands.
Yeah.
And I don't think the agency will ever get enough child protection officers.
Oh, okay.
We never will get enough. And it's not unique to Guyana.
It's everywhere.
It's everywhere. So we have to work with local groups, religious organizations. So it's the FBOs, faith-based organizations, community organizations, and non-governmental organizations. We collaborate. We are reaching out. Everywhere where they are, we would like to get in touch with you. If you're doing something for children, do tell us. that we could get involved in it and even extend it
Extend,
to reach
yeah.
more children. Just come in and tell us what you're doing. And we could work with you and extend it so we could reach further children. We want to do more things at the community level. Because this whole thing about child protection, you see, it starts in the home, the school, the community. So child protection is everyone's business.
So,
Alright?
so you're
we gotta
hoping
get
that
everyone on
when you
board.
go into the communities, and I'm happy that you talked
Yeah.
about the homes and so on, because we
Yeah.
were talking earlier, even before somebody comes to you with a complaint, well, this has happened in my home to this child, this person has been brought into, I don't know, babysit the child and there was a violation. But even without that happening, you're trying to put measures in place because you don't want a situation to, again, where Ann Greene
Yeah.
becomes the big bad wolf.
Yeah.
Why is she coming in my house to find out? And viewers, you know this is how we talk as gangs. Why is she coming in my house to find out what I'm doing?
Yeah.
So there is a way that you can do that without, well, to use what people will say, invasion of privacy.
We do that. And you know, this is just like this morning I was putting a tip on our Facebook page of positive parenting. And I'm
Yeah.
saying that parents, caregivers, they mix up punishment with discipline. Discipline is what you do for a child,
What is punishment?
and punishing is what you do to a child. So, and then I put further, I said there, so what children need protection, affection, and direction. And all of that will come in the discipline part. And a true set of values to last them through life. Because you can't teach a child to behave well by making that child feel bad. Check our Facebook page, it's there today.
Okay.
I put it up already this morning. So this whole thing of punishment, and the only punishment some people know is licks. So
Some of us were raised like
I
that.
know everybody's going to say that. Like how the so good and they were beaten.
Yes.
Who tell them the good? You might have been better if you
Without
were
the
not
lashes.
beaten without the lashes. So everybody say that, but that's a whole lot of violence. Huh? So discipline is what you do for the child. You a lot of time when you see what some people don't understand, how important is the same sex parent as the role model for the child. Come on, the girl is carrying on and she liming at the corner. And when we check to find out,
Why?
where she learned to lime at the corner? Where is the values? Where's the values that were instilled? Instilling the values is the discipline. What you're doing for her. But the punishment is when you're going to take a big stick and beat. With what result? No. So they got to stop mixing up discipline and punishment. See what you're doing for your child. A lot of children, people know that the children feel that they're not loved. You know, my children have told me, I don't feel that my parents love me. It's the affection part. It's the unconditional love. That you love me even when I do something wrong.
But you know, some parents don't know to do certain things
Well,
like hug and actually
I
say to
know.
your child, you
I know.
do it. I
Yes.
grew up hearing that.
Yeah, but some people don't hug. I
they
know
don't-
many
they don't really know how
houses,
to
they
do
don't
it.
know how to hug. And some children really need a
Need a
hug. A hug might just do for them because they feel that they're not loved. So that's the affection part what said children need. And some children are growing up without direction. Who is directing this child? And without protection too. Think children are allowed to, I see some people take a lot of risk with the children. How could you take all the risk with your child? No, you got to know who the next door is sending your child to play next door.
That too.
You got to find out who next door. What this playing is going to be like. Because things are happening, as I say, children are getting groomed.
And you have
Children are being abused.
illegal drugs circulating that looks like candy.
Oh, yes.
Candy.
So you got to take a little bit more care. So that's why I'm asking to be just a little bit more protective, a little bit more affection. Children feel that they're not loved. Some children just need a little hug. Yeah.
That's very true. And viewers,
She-
Miss
she-
Green, she makes me
she-
want a
she-
hug right now.
Hey,
But that's
hey,
very
you want
true.
a hug? I got my grandson to ask sometimes in the CB say, Grand, you want a hug? I said, boy, I need one. Boy!
And you know very well that he's the one who wants
Yeah,
a
then if
hug.
I say, he wants a hug, I say, yeah, I could give you, let me give you a hug. You know, I see a child, yeah, come let me give you a hug. Some children just need a hug. Believe you me. Yeah, you can't. Children must feel good about themselves and who they are if you want to correct their behavior. So children get a lot of put down. It's a lot of don't do. And know what should I do?
Yeah.
Or what could I do?
Or why should
You
I
know?
not do
Or
it?
why
What
should
are the
say
consequences?
no? Yes. So it's just a punishment of this discipline thing, and then they tell me, you want me for this, and all people say, I don't want her to discipline her child. I said, that's what I want you to do. Believe me, I want you to discipline the child. So I'm gonna spend a little time telling you what discipline is. I want you to discipline the child. The child needs discipline. But what you're doing is a
It's
big stick
punishing.
punishment. And you teaching that child, this is how you solve problems and get vexed and get take up a big stick.
So we're creating abusers.
And yeah. And then later on down the road, they will say, but how the child gets a familiar thing parents say, I bet the child, but I make the child mine. You mold the mind. And you mold the mind during those early years, those impressionable years, the early childhood years, the 0 to 3.
Okay.
When you might be fussing and fighting. You see, we as parents find it hard to accept. But we have to accept that our earlier life might have created some problems for our children.
Okay. Understood.
Get it?
Yes.
So, yeah, so it's early understanding those impressionable years.
Understood. I mean, I have to begin to wrap up. One final one before, because often, maybe a few years ago, we would, generally, and people who really care about children would complain, and viewers, I'm not, especially my colleagues in the media, I'm not knocking you, but one of the complaints you got previously is that, look, when something happens to a child, we don't like the way the media reported. Have you seen an improvement, a change for the better when it comes to reporting any sort of offense against a child, whether it's child labor, sexual offense against a child? Have you seen an improvement in the way generally the media reports?
Yes, I must say, I've been in a long time and I've seen improvement. Every now and then there's a little lapse. Every now and then there's a little lapse and they portray something or say something that should not. But generally, yes.
Okay.
And the media is a key agency, a key for promoting this whole awareness and this wellness for children and all of that. And I don't think media do enough. I like media to do more.
Okay.
Right? In helping us to promote this awareness and really to spread more information to protect children. It's one of the, yes, I feel the media could do a whole lot more, but they're better.
They're better.
Yeah,
Okay.
personal little stories, they're right. I don't think they ever quote me properly. They twist up a lot of things that, that I say. So
But remember, you were initially placed out there as the big bad wolf who comes and takes it. But so every now and again they're gonna slip something of that in.
But I think it's getting better. People beginning to understand. Yes, one of our challenges was really engaging the public. It was. It's still to some extent, we're getting this improvement. Because as I said, we have this awareness program. We do things on social media too. We have our page, we put up information, and anybody can go on our page and see. You want to see what we're involving, we put it up there. So I think there's more awareness now. Because we have more reports now of abuse than we had years ago.
So people are confident in the system.
Yeah. So it's not that there are more abuse now for children than they were years ago. There are more reports. And a lot, we're attributing it to the work that we're doing with awareness, the work that we're doing at the community level. And so there's more awareness. And this whole question about parents, and we talk about we're trying to prevent the separation of the parent. We're really trying to do more services for parents, to build the capacity. We really don't want to take away a child from you. That's the last thing we want to do. But when we come to you with a report and so on, what we're looking for is cooperation from you, so that we could quickly fix what we need to fix. We don't want to take away the child from you. And I have to come to the point to say we have just established our new center, our new Children and Family Center.
Yes.
In Sophia. It's a complex there. And at the place there is 8 apartments that could hold families, that we could keep a family and children together whilst we process you, or we're doing the risk assessment to know what's creating the vulnerability for the children. And that's a big plus for the child protection services for Guyana. So we got several programs that we got going. We got to spend hours to talk, if I to tell you all the things that we have on stream that's going. But yes, building the capacity of the parents. We've started working with NGO, doing a home visiting, the children that we return home to the family. But if I return a child, you see, I'm placed in a position of taking a child from certainty to uncertainty. So I have to ensure that child's continued well-being when the child is returned to that parent. And based on, I said, we need more hands. So I'm piloting a project with NGOs to, when we return the child, to monitor the child home at the community level. See that this child go to school and thing and so on, and keep a lookout for this child. Because yes, when I return a child home, I must be able to ensure that child's continued well-being.
Okay. Wonderful.
So the things are happening. I'm feeling better about child protection now. It was a long haul.
Yeah, you worked hard.
We started with, we had borrowed 4 officers from probation and myself 5. And I think we have over 188 staff.
Congratulations.
Now, across the country. And I must say, my child protection officers, my social workers, are the hardest working social workers in Guyana. I'll say it anytime.
Well, congratulations
They
to them.
work real hard, and they'll tell you. And I think I'm a little bit of a taskmaster. I think so.
I think
So,
Guyana knows that.
I think a little bit.
It's a good thing.
We
like
some people
it.
say that, but we got to do things. And I don't think too much excuses.
Okay.
I want efforts. I want to tell me what we try and do. But my workers, they're the hardest.
Wonderful.
I think,
and I'm sure
I think
they would respect you even more for highlighting that.
Lot
And I promise, because I don't want to feel the wrath of Ann Greene. So I promise not to try not to neglect the agency and not keep her away from facing the nation for such a long time again.
That's right.
It has always been a pleasure. Thank you so much for coming on
Thanks for
Facing the
being here.
Nation.
Thank you.
Viewers, for those of you who are now tuning in, you missed a great conversation with the director of the Child Care and Protection Agency. That's barring the power outages that we've had. If you're now joining, you can catch this conversation in its entirety. I know some of you are in Facebook land and you're watching now, so thank you very much for tuning in. But those of you who are now joining and you're not necessarily in social media land at this point, in another 2 hours or so, the conversation will be uploaded in its entirety. Hopefully our operators would have been able to save it from damage in terms of the 2 times that we were off. And of course, what we'll do is take a quick break. On the other side of the break, we will come back and we'll talk a little bit about horse racing with the time that we have left on our program. This is Facing the Nation. Stay tuned.